true freedom requires faith. I'm thinking about this today because as I'm just sitting here and like trying to come up with something to say to you guys today, um, it's always this kind of dilemma for me between putting in consistent work and like trusting the kind of efforting way, the kind of traditional way that's known in society today, where you put in the work, you're consistent, you're disciplined, and then there's the promised result, right? But the other way, the way of like being just free and like truly free, I don't even know where to start. It's like, imagine you actually only did what you wanted, like truly. You truly only did what you wanted. For most people, it's unthinkable because there's like no structure then, right? Like, imagine you really only ever did what you want. That is actually the most scary thing for the vast majority of people, and myself included. Right now, I have the opportunity to be relaxed and just take my time with making these videos. But I do want to achieve some result with this in like, not like I don't want to have to wait forever to be successful with this too. Like, yeah, I do want to get somewhere with this. But then the question is, how do you go about doing that? Do you like, I mean, what I've been doing until now was I set the intention to make a video every day, and that's cool, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I've been, yeah, it's been working for me kind of. But I also see like there's new channels. Like I just saw a new channel pop up. This person made their first video and immediately got like thousands of views, and I don't know, hundreds of subscribers, myself included. And so now, like, I don't know, every week or so, or every 2 weeks or something, like very sporadically, this person has uploaded another 2 videos, and they have way more subscribers than me. And I'm not throwing any shade or anything. To me, it's just like a reminder and an example where I'm like, yeah, this person just has the energy. So there's like this one, this efforting way, struggling, and then there's this way of trusting, having faith that, oh my God, every time, I don't know why I struggle with this. Having faith that it's gonna work out, it's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be okay, and you can just do whatever you want. You can just relax, and you can take it at your own pace, and the best like the best result for you will come from that. It's kind of the mindset where you're saying like, okay, you know what, like it can be about anything. If this, like, let's say you go to an interview for a job, and instead of like putting in effort to impress people, you're just like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna be me, and I'm just gonna do whatever. And if they don't take me, then that's just a sign that it was the wrong job. And with a romantic partner, you don't try to impress anyone. You're just like, okay, the right person is gonna find me. And yeah, it's like same with anything. And for me, like, what you kind of doing for a living is like the biggest example, I think. And yeah, this again, like making videos is like the example for me, because yeah, that's where I'm facing the dilemma most acutely right now in my life. Where it's like, I think I know better than to to try to struggle and force everything. But yeah, I'm also anxious about not making it ever, and like, sitting there in 5 years and still having no subscribers virtually. I mean, I'm actually so grateful just to have like, I think I have almost 100 subscribers now. I'm just really grateful. Thank you guys so much for your support. Um, yeah, but what I want to say in this video really primarily is that freedom is truly like a leap of faith. Like, you cannot understate this because I feel like it's really just ignored. Like, people will just kind of take this mindset that they have for granted, where it's like, oh yeah, of course, like you have to balance work and things that you don't want to do, and then there's like your free time, and it's like, you have to separate those two areas of life, and so on and so forth. Or like if you want to get results in the gym, then you have to be with like a consistent schedule. Now what they are finding out is like, I don't know, I recently heard something where they were saying that for 2 weeks after training, you do not lose any muscle mass. And in fact, like the hypertrophy response, which is like, I mean, I don't know, like, don't quote me exactly on this, but it was something like, well, up to 2 weeks after your training, your body might still be regenerating and putting on muscle or something like that. So they were saying like, oh, it could actually be the case that if you just train once every 2 weeks, you might just get the same results that you would like under, I don't know, the normal circumstances today. But yeah, like, I mean, don't quote me, but it's something I heard and I believe it, to be honest. Um, and yeah, that again would just be another example of how you don't have to force everything. I believe that forcing things is actually, um, I mean, it's not like a belief. It is just the truth. Like, if you're forcing things, it's really coming from fear. And so I cannot lie about being a little bit anxious or whatever. I mean, I'm trying hard to kind of make something happen. Um, because like I cannot really let go fully and just trust that it's gonna happen in due time. I'm just kind of how do you say? Yeah, I guess impatient. Yeah, impatient. So I'm like wanting to get it done, wanting to put my effort, wanting to be consistent, but at the same time it's like, but I've just personally feel like my videos aren't that good since I've been trying to make something every day. And the good thing about that is that I could learn to accept imperfection. Like, a lot of the time I would just be like, okay, it's fine, like, yeah, I don't look great, whatever. Like, same today. Like, I don't know, my hair doesn't look good most of the time. More often than not, it doesn't really look good. Um, and I don't want to like put in any like whatever products. I'm not really a fan of that. Yeah, whatever. Like, so it kind of taught me to embrace like the imperfection. So it's not like it's all bad, but I do believe that actually the main thing like that you need to get good results is really the energy. And this applies again to everything. Like, if people ask you like for advice on how to get what you want, you will hear so many things about, okay, you have to do it like this, you have to be like this, you have to act like that, don't do this, do that, and make sure you look like this, and so on and so forth. But barely anybody really talks about just the energy behind it, which you cannot fake. So I don't know, like, if we take dating as an example, you can try to appear confident, but people basically see through all of that, right? Like, when you're just putting on a mask, then people can tell basically. So yeah, you might know all of the techniques and stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. I just I just recently saw like I don't even know what it was anymore, but I think it probably was like a YouTube video or something, and I think the person was like talking about kind of mainstream dating advice, and he was kind of calling out, I think, about how like people will be telling you like, okay, you should wait like so and so long until you respond to her message, and all these things. And he was just talking about how, well, if you're actually like a attractive, confident guy who has things going on, then you don't need to worry about all of that, because yeah, you're gonna be busy doing some things, and then sometimes you text back immediately and sometimes not. And yeah, that's exactly basically the point, what I mean by like energy, in the same way, but in just all types of different ways that I couldn't even tell you. um the truth is always shining through, like I don't know how you really gonna pretend to be busy just to not appear desperate to a girl, for example, right? Fuck. I mean, all that effort, if you just spend it worrying less about getting what you're trying to get, and instead just did what you enjoyed, you already would have that down, right? You would already just be naturally busy at doing whatever you want to do, and then you wouldn't have to worry about some stupid technique about like, trying to get a girl to text you back or something. uh, yeah, I don't know, I need to get a habit of looking at the camera, to be honest. I keep looking around my room, and then I watch back the footage, and it's like, it seems like I'm reading off a script or something. um yeah, but I don't know. So the energy, I mean, it's like you cannot really fake it, right? So I've been thinking about this, like, how do you get the energy where you're just flowing naturally and you don't have to try, and you're getting everything done in the best way possible, in like, I don't know, like I said, this one example of that new channel, this person already has like 1,000 subscribers after like one video, it's just like, it's so in your face, and people are like, okay, I got an effort. Like, I get it because I'm there. But I think the main thing that we have to overcome is just our own doubt. I think that's like the biggest obstacle, like going from doubt to faith, where you are no longer worrying about everything, but instead just trusting, and yeah, that's not easy. That's easier said than done. And in fact, to be honest with you, I thought about this because I had the intention again to make a video today. So I don't know. There is like such a thing as like soft intention, where you just, and it's really like magic. I talked about this in some of my other videos. If you just set the intention to do something without stressing, like without even trying to do anything, you will notice, like, just try it for yourself. Just, instead of thinking about all the reasons why you can't, just think, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, without stressing, just be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So for in my example, it's like, okay, I'm going to make a video every day. And I just notice how, like, once I set that intention, you know, some ideas throughout the day come up. And it's like, oh yeah, I could talk about this. Oh yeah, I remember this lesson I learned some time ago, and I can talk about that. Um, but also, like, one important thing, which I gotta admit, to be honest, is like, I'm sitting here, like, I thought about this before, like, starting to film, right? Um, I mean, I'm just kind of meditating for a moment, right? And so this topic that I'm talking about now is kind of going through my head, where I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, you gotta basically just trust that things are gonna happen in due time. And really, you cannot worry about all these things, you know, like that's no way to live your life. In the end, like even if I was successful and I managed to make a video every single day without fail, and then I even got all the results that I want, like I get the success that I was dreaming of. But then if this is like becoming such a compulsion that I'm like stressing all day about it, okay, I gotta make this video, gotta do this, gotta do that. Or I don't know, like by that time that I had like a big following, I'm just assuming that I will probably have picked up a few other habits, you know, uh, in connection with this YouTube channel or whatever content creation stuff. Maybe like I upped my expectations. Maybe I started to say, okay, I want to also be writing some blogs, or I want to be responding to so and so many followers a day or something like that. Like I can imagine that with increased success, I'm gonna start to take on more things to do every day, right? But if you start to do all these things out of compulsion and thinking, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, yeah, you're just gonna enjoy it less immediately, and it's gonna be going into the direction of where you're like, instead of you doing it because you want to do it, and this, I don't know, like you just kind of want to do it, right? Like what is it with life? You just live because you kind of want to live, and you just do things because you want to do things, right? Like at the end, you cannot have a justification for the things that you're doing if you want to do them genuinely. Like if you actually want to enjoy what you're doing, it cannot be for some reason. Like you cannot be telling yourself, okay, I'm doing this because of this. Yes, yes, okay, yes, I'm doing this, and yes, this is the right thing. That doesn't make you happy in the end. What makes you happy is simply you just feel like doing it, right? And you cannot force that. So I've been thinking about that and being kind of like, yeah, true. So it doesn't really matter if I'm making a video or not. It matters more just how am I living my life, right? What is my attitude toward life? And for me, it's like I want that freedom. But yeah, the freedom truly requires faith. You cannot just be forcing everything. And it's not just with whatever projects that you have, it's with everything, right? If you have this kind of fighting mentality, that's what I thought about like earlier. It's like a fighting mentality versus a kind of faith mentality. If you have this fighting mentality all the time, yeah, you get tired, and the primary problem really is it's not even like the effort. It's just this kind of, if you're in that headspace where you're trying to uphold things, think about that. You don't do it because you want to, you're just trying to uphold it. So you're trying to keep the relationship, you're trying to keep the marriage, you're trying to feed your children. You're just doing it because you think it's the right thing to do, not because you want to. If you're in that mentality, eventually, you know, aren't you going to ask yourself, okay, what am I doing all of this for? And that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, you just got to do it because it fulfills you somehow. You just kind of enjoy living, right? I mean, yeah, there's things that in life, you know, kind of sucks or whatever, but at the end, you have to be in this state of mind where you are living and not just surviving, not just taking care of things, like fundamentally. And this I've been struggling with a lot. Like, I mean, I haven't even realized this. First of all, I haven't realized this for the majority of my life. I only recently really realized this when I started making videos. That was actually, funny enough, like that's the point in my life where I actually started making videos consistently, even though I had this idea to make videos like probably for a decade or something. But until I started to realize, like, oh yeah, okay, you just kind of either you want to or you don't. And if you don't want to, but you're just forcing it because you think, well, I have to do it, like otherwise my life will suck. It's not really going anywhere. Like, where are you going with that mentality? It's just, you're never living, right? Like, that's what I really want to say. Like, I hope you're getting my point. Um, yeah, and again, I've mentioned like this in a few other videos. If this like sounds like something that resonates, then maybe you can like also check those out. But yeah, and so the thing that I gotta admit, which I said earlier, was that once I thought that, like, this kind of comparison, like once that kind of became clear to me today, like my first impulse was like, oh yeah, that's something I can talk about today. And yes, here I am. But first of all, I kind of reflected then again about that thought. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Because basically, my fear is appropriating the idea of freedom to serve that kind of compulsion that I have, right? The compulsion to put in effort, to work consistently, to make sure that I do the right thing or whatever, even though this is not in my control. Like, how is this? How could I control what's gonna happen? Like, how could I control how many views I get? How many of you stick around to even hear what I'm saying here? How I'm received, if I'm respected, how many subscribers I get or not. Yeah, like obviously that's completely out of my control. But here's that interesting thing where I have this realization of freedom, right? And I start to think, oh, right, yeah, I remember it again. Like, I keep forgetting this and then I remember it. I forget it and I remember it. And I remember. Yeah, freedom. You have to just do what you want and trust that it's gonna be okay. Otherwise, you're just running on this treadmill of fear all of your life. But then, as soon as I had that realization, the fear appropriates the idea and is like, okay, good. Now we can take this and make a video about it. I'm like, yes, oh yes, but wait, you know? It's like, wait, that's not the point, because then again, we're in that fear mindset. And I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with making the video, and I want to make the video, and that's why I'm here now. But it's like, it's about more than that, right? And I have to keep reminding myself, because it's so easy to forget this. But yeah, I mean, I hope until, like, I hope with everything I've said in this video already that you kind of got my point. But if you like to just re-emphasize it at the end, I guess there's the kind of freedom, or I guess bondage, right? And the bondage is like the treadmill of fear, where you're worried about your problems and you're trying to, well, you're running on the treadmill, because if you stop running, then you will fall off the treadmill, right? And you have to keep running. Or you could be in the mindset where you're like, well, at the end of the day, death is coming anyway, you know, or whatever is coming anyway. And yeah, life is hard, but somehow you gotta enjoy it. And the way to do that is, the only way to do that really is to just be free and just, you know, do things with a sense of, I don't know, like, I mean, I cannot prescribe like what makes you happy, but I'm thinking, it's so hard to describe, really. Why is it hard to put into words? It should be simple. Because I'm not trying to like make it come across like as a hedonistic idea. Like, this is not about hedonism. It's not what I'm saying, but it sounds like that when I'm saying like you just gotta do what you want. Like, just do what you want. I don't know. I have the sense that people are like, I mean, first time that I talked about this really, the first video I made, where I started to be consistent, I think it was like, do whatever you want, there is no problem. And then there was one person saying like, oh, nihilism shares a bed with bitterness or something like that. And, oh yeah, oh, never mind. But in that video already, I was saying, like, I was pointing out that, yeah, it's not about hedonism. But yeah, it's like you do things because you just want to do them, right? Like, why do you play? Like, what is play? There's no definition. You just you just do whatever because it's just fun. And what's interesting about that actually is that my brother pointed out that children learn through play, or like that play is like a means by which you learn. And when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, damn. And I connected that with a realization I had myself, which was that, actually I don't even know what my realization was, but basically like the combined thing, like his and my realization amounted to that play is basically like on, like, if you have a coin, one side of that is play and the other side is meaning, like meaningful progress for your life. So you get bored when you're playing, when there's nothing new like that you're learning anymore. Like, do you feel that? Like, to be honest, when I think about myself, like doing like any type of play, I don't know, video games or whatever, then whenever I like, if I look back, then I'm like, oh yeah, this is clearly true. Like, if I was playing some game and I already knew all the mechanics as far as I was interested in them, then I got bored. Like, maybe you start to play a different character in the same game, or you play a different game altogether. But basically, as soon as like you're familiar with what you've been trying to do, then you're done, right? I mean, that's why we are not really playing with small children anymore. That's why we kind of look at children and what they're doing to play, and we don't care about it because they are learning very basic things and they're taking pride in that. And that's, of course, like, that's not to say that they are lesser or something, like that their play is less. It's just like they're obviously at a different stage of development. But as we get mature, we need more complicated kind of things to play with, right? Because we are more like, we have higher, like a higher standard or whatever you want to call it. So, like if you're playing soccer or something, it requires way more bodily coordination than if you're, I don't know, just when you're a 5-year-old kid. To be honest, I don't even know at what age kids will learn to walk, but I think by 5 they can walk, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, I used to, like, for a very short time, I was like at a preschool kind of like assistant teacher. So I should know, but never mind. Yeah, so at that age they might just be learning to run, right? And they are like, oh, okay, if I this is obviously not going on consciously, but they're like, oh, okay, if I run like this, I'm a little bit faster than the other kids, right? And they get some satisfaction from that, probably. But then if you just, oh, okay, now I can run, that's it, like, okay, I'm running, it gets boring, right? So now you kind of lose a little bit of interest in just playing the chasing game. To be honest though, I did it once with like one of my like one ex-girlfriend. I don't know why. I remember when we went out, she was she was like touching me and grabbing me and stuff, and I didn't like it, so I was like running away from her, and she was chasing after me. It was quite fun actually. So like she chased me through half the city, just like two little children and adult bodies like running through the street. Um, yeah, so actually it's still fun, but yeah. Normally, normally you're gonna have to have some meaning, and the meaning of play, I think, is actually to make a meaningful progress for yourself. And when I realized that, yeah, it made a lot of sense. Um, because like that's where your interest naturally goes. So it feels like life is actually designed for you to just play. Like you will make the most progress the most easily when you're playing, actually, because you will be in your own element. You will do what you enjoy, and when you're enjoying it, you're gonna put in a lot of time effortlessly. You're just gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna pay attention because you're enjoying it, and you're gonna learn because you want to get better at what you're enjoying doing, right? Of course, like it's the most natural thing. So it feels like we have this kind of, like, to me it feels like it's like a mind virus, like discipline kind of thing. Like of course, like it's again like it kind of feels like I have to be careful when I'm saying that, because yeah, there's a kind of place for discipline, but really discipline comes from motivation. If you just have discipline but you're really feeling no motivation whatsoever, then, well, you have an empty life. And first of all, nobody is disciplined really in that sense. Everybody is really just motivated. If somebody is disciplined, that just means they are motivated on a level where even if they don't feel like it right now, they still have that bigger motivation to keep doing it. And that's the same for me. Like I've been making a video every day, even though I didn't feel like it most days, quite frankly, because I felt like, okay, I want to do this now, right? And yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but I have to point it out that I think we are really on the wrong track right now in society, because it seems to me like really, if we could just let go and let ourselves do whatever we're gonna do, like unconditionally, then life would take care of itself, and life would take care of itself in a like very playful way, where you can just do whatever you want, and you basically don't have to worry about it. Like if you're already in a situation now with like kids to take care of or things like that, then yeah, that's of course tough. But the point here is that that is your motivation then, right? It's it's not like the doing what you want. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't mean this hedonistically, because when I'm saying doing what you like, do whatever you want, it doesn't mean like, oh, do whatever thing that gives you quick pleasure in the moment. No, taking care of your kids can be something that you want to do, of course, right? And you should want to take care of your kids. Why like taking care of a kid shouldn't be a chore. But yeah, it can end up that way, of course, with life going, with life lifing. So yeah, I mean, my heart really goes out to the people who are like having a hard time taking care of a loved one or children, and just having a rough time with that. And I'm to be honest, just feeling really lucky that I'm not in that same situation where I have to take care of somebody. Yeah, so I consider it grace, like above all else. I just consider it grace that I'm not in that situation, because I'm not in the headspace to do all of that. But yeah, it, your motivation can be anything. It doesn't have to be like, obviously it doesn't have to be whatever quick pleasure. And in fact, that would be completely misguided too, because if you think that everything always has to feel good, then every time something doesn't feel good, you're gonna like, you know, run away from it thinking that something must be wrong. But no, in fact, it's completely natural to feel like down or whatever sometimes, like no matter what you do in life, no matter what choices you make, you're always gonna be unhappy to some extent. And when you kind of realize that, then you're at much more peace, because then it's not it doesn't mean, oh, okay, I did something wrong with my life, but it's just like, yeah, okay, I feel sad or I feel whatever. That's normal. Like no matter what I would have done, yeah, that happens. And that again was one of the reasons why I started to make videos consistently now, because I realized, oh, me feeling kind of like there's no point or whatever, that's kind of like that's not an issue that is exclusive to this YouTube thing. It's just I had this kind of general problem. In fact, how do I say oh, it's so hard to express like a really general like idea in like a few words. But in fact, what I mean is that everything really is the same kind of like when you have a problem, you externalize it, but really nothing is external, everything is internal. So when you like, for me, when I felt like, okay, there's no point in doing this, it was just like a general kind of attitude, you know. It's like a reflection of my own attitude rather than a reflection of the project that I had in mind, which is like making content. So like I don't know, I would have to actually think about why that was even in the first place. But once I kind of realized that, oh, okay, your mind basically colors your experience and not the other way around. Like when you're sad, then you see the whole world sad, you know. When you are stressed, you see the whole world as stressful, and so on and so forth. When you're happy, you see that the whole world is like great, joy everywhere. Like, you know, when that's what I mean. So it's not just one thing. It's everything. Everything is like that. But I don't know. I like went over the scope of this video like a way long time ago. Said way more than I was planning to say, but yeah, if you watch until here, like, damn, let me know. Thank you anyway for hearing me yap. But yeah, if you have any thoughts or if you have any questions that you think I can help you with, then leave them in the comments. I always read them. And other than that, yeah, take care and have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye bye.